We keep
What's
middle
good?
of that. Okay, we're on
It's
now.
yeah.
Hi everybody, welcome to the Such a Report broadcast. This is Chris Joseph, your host. It's March 9th, 2015. I'm with my guest, friend, and fucking fat Indian guy, Anirudh Vohra. Uh, yeah, or if you just want to say what you were saying about that politician coming.
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. So, well, yeah. So Holi was the 6th, which was Friday, I think. Yeah.
Yeah,
And on the 8th, yesterday, he came with
yeah.
a bunch of media people, so like a bunch of journalists and like video media personnel essentially. Like it's a big story. It's
Yeah,
running on Times now. It's a big news channel, and
yeah.
yeah, the MLA just started like yelling shit at these kids, the students who were actually helping. Like they'd been at the
Yeah.
hospital for like 3 days. And they started
Okay.
yelling at them and actually assaulted them just for like a news bite, which was pretty fucking ridiculous.
Wait, he assault? Would
So
he
yeah,
beat them up? Did they start beating each other up, or like did
they
he
started
just go
beating us
in?
up. Man.
What?
started, started beating the students up. Started beating us up.
Were you there?
No, I wasn't there. I was here in college. This was at the hospital.
Oh yeah. So what's everybody saying about that?
It's fucked up. So he's probably doing it for the publicity, right? And I
Well,
mean,
is that the kind of publicity you need as a politician to be going around beating up law students after someone killed themselves?
precisely, that's the fuck up. So now the problem is that the media isn't reporting it as a suicide at all, which is really messed up. Because what happened is,
What
as
are
a
they
knee-jerk
reporting it
reaction,
as?
murder.
Murder.
Yeah. So because the dad didn't believe the story. He couldn't believe. Apparently, he couldn't believe that his kid was high. So he filed a murder charge, and the media is just running with it. You know.
Well, one, how do you file a murder charge basically off your own assumptions? Doesn't there have to be some kind of proof?
No, so you can file a charge, you can file a complaint, and you don't need any proof. So like, if you think I committed murder, you just need to call the cops up, and you need to be like, Anirudh Vohra
But
committed murder.
but
I'm
that
Joseph, and please start an investigation. Then it's up to the cops to actually sort of find
But
evidence.
that's such a useless fucking way to do it though. That's like ass backwards from how it should be.
No, man, because you as a citizen might not know what like basically the ingredients of a crime is how a lawyer would put it, and a citizen isn't expected to know that, so he is just expected to report what he suspects.
Yeah, you can report what you suspect, but it's up to the police to charge you with it. Otherwise, I could just go
Yeah.
around charging fucking anybody and everybody with murder and assault and
Yeah.
rape
so,
whenever I
so
wanted to.
the charge is murder, but no one has been charged yet, so the investigation is like they're investigating murder.
Okay. And they won't investigate suicide now, and the fact that he
I don't know, man. I don't know. That's the fuck up because they can't. So the media is again putting pressure on the cops. So they have to show something. So like today they came with the dummy, and the dummy was a mattress rolled up with like a plank stuck to it.
what what is this?
That was their test dummy, man.
For what?
They lobbed it off the third floor to see like the projectile and shit.
Projectile what? It's a fucking mattress, not a body. Like
Exactly. So
bodies hit the ground and have a different in the ground.
yeah, it was pretty retarded. But yeah,
Dude,
that's the scene.
that's like some archaic people like 8,000 years ago would have done that shit. Like, oh, somebody jumped out of the building. How about we just throw some paper airplanes out to see like the projectile velocity of a fall from like the third floor?
Yeah, yeah. Like all of us were watching them pretty cluelessly. I mean, we're just trying to figure out what the fuck they gain from doing this, and we had
I don't
no
know. It's
idea.
probably just to take some pictures of like some inept West Bengal police throwing a mattress out of the fucking third floor of a university building.
Yeah, precisely.
Uh, that's a bit retarded.
It's very retarded.
Uh,
But
is it in
yeah,
your building? Do you jump out of your like residence?
yeah, yeah. We have only one building for the boys, so
Yeah, so it was your
yeah.
building. You jumped. Did you know the
I
guy
was,
personally?
I didn't know him.
What?
I didn't. Did you ask if
You
I
didn't
knew
know
him?
him.
No, I didn't. I didn't know him.
Yeah.
No, luckily I
So
did.
you don't
But
really.
the fuck up is that in my second year, so that's 2 years ago, someone else had jumped from the sixth floor,
Yeah.
and I knew that guy
Okay.
quite well. So
No.
yeah, it's like two deaths under the same administration, and they have like no idea what to do now.
All these deaths are basically like stress deaths from exams and
Well,
stuff. Yeah.
the first one was, but this one wasn't. So do you know what bhang is? It's
Yeah.
like a
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, it's basically a drink made of poppy seeds, and he'd had like a liter of it, like in one go. He just downed a bottle. So he was like really high when he jumped.
Yeah. It was usually like if you. Well, like bong's kind of like marijuana though. It's like the same type of effect.
Yeah, it is. Except this is like more concentrated because it's condensed down to a drink. So you're not like so when you smoke it, you're gonna smoke like half a twig, so like half a leaf, right? Or
Yeah.
bud or whatever you wanna call it. But but this is different because it's like I said, it's condensed down
Yeah.
into a drink, and the fuck
Okay.
up is it hits you very late. Like the effects start um the effects take place like a half an hour, 40 minutes after you've had it. So what people do is they'll have a glass, they'll have a couple of glasses, and they expect it to um, hit them like alcohol hits a person, which is like right after the drink, but
Yeah.
it doesn't. So they just drinking, and then they've had like a liter, and then suddenly that whole liter worth of like marijuana fucking hits them in one go.
Yeah.
And especially
Well, that's
if you've
all
never.
over. That's all over on like during Holy Bong is everywhere.
Yeah, but and it's a very sort of diverse drug in a sense because I've seen so many reactions to it. So like I myself have a very peaceful reaction. Like I'm
Yeah.
I'm just happy, and that's it.
Or
But
I've
I
never
know
seen you
people.
have like an adverse reaction to something really, except for
No,
that
but then
like stuff just makes you get quiet, which is kind of like an
yeah,
advantage
yeah,
to you.
exactly. I get quiet and I'm happy and music is nice and like the weather is suddenly nice. But I've seen bad reactions. Like a friend of mine did the same thing. He had a bottle and he too like interestingly felt like jumping off the fucking second floor. But he had the sense to lock himself into his room, and what he describes is that he essentially didn't know whether he was asleep or awake anymore for like a whole night. So people have
Okay.
some really retarded reactions to it too, and the fuck up is that if you're inexperienced, like this kid he's never touched alcohol, he's never smoked anything,
I
and now
see.
he suddenly has like a liter of bhang.
Well, was this the first time he really did anything then? He just
Yeah,
went right
exactly.
into it.
Yeah, and exactly, he just went right into it. It's like dropping 2 tabs of acid because that shit is pretty strong, the
Yeah.
bhang that we get.
Huh.
So yeah,
I
it's
don't
a
know, it's a
scene.
bit messed up. It's
Yeah,
not
it
really a
was
scene,
excessive.
man. Like it's like Kolkata is just no wonder you do that type of stuff. Kolkata is like a pit.
Oh yeah, Kolkata is horrible. So it,
It's not a
it's
writer's paradise anymore.
it was. I don't think it ever was. I think that's a lie.
Like it was probably a romanticized version of like the time that Tagore was there.
No, I mean it's probably just what they hoped it was.
No, but like
You know?
even in the movies and stuff, you always have this like romantic version of Kolkata that exists.
Yeah, it's true. But so the fuck up is by population density, it's like the second most populated. By in terms of density, it's the most populated city in India in terms of density. So it's
Yes.
incredibly crowded, it's dirty, and nobody fucking feels like doing anything. Like, taxi drivers will fucking turn you down, man. They'll be like, no, I don't want to go.
Oh man, that was happening in Dehradun when I went there in the summer. Like, remember like when you got off the rail station and
Oh,
then you
yeah,
had
yeah.
that little taxi stand right there, and usually there was a guy inside the cage just organizing it all, like at set rates. Now
Hmm.
like now like you show up there
It's like
and
a free
basically
market.
everybody's just it's not a free market. Everybody's just like laying down. Like they set the right. They'll say like 1,300 rupees to go up. You're like, what the fuck are you talking about? It used to be like 700. And like you try to bargain with them, they just walk off. And like they don't. They literally don't give a shit anymore.
No, but see, here they don't even say a price. He just does not want to go, no matter how much you want to pay him.
With a swift kick in the nutsack.
No, and
Kick
people
him in
say
the
it's like
kick him
people
in his
suspect that
Bengali taint.
so you know the state had like a communist party for about 30 years,
Yeah.
which changed when I came here. So it changed like 2011 or so. And it's probably that. It's probably everyone just used to getting their sort of monthly pay regardless of the amount of work they did.
I don't think it's that because Kerala had the communist government also for a really long time, and in Kerala people are still like learning how to read and like doing stuff and like moving.
Yeah, no, that's because they didn't give up. People here just gave up. They just don't care.
They didn't give up. Well, I
They,
think at a
I'm
certain
not.
point when it's 150 fucking degrees Fahrenheit and you're sitting out there in the heat and you're making like 20 cents a fucking hour for or like 20 cents a ride, like who
Yeah,
gives a shit at that point?
exactly. Yeah. No, I mean I don't blame them either because and more than the heat, it's the humidity. It just it's so humid. You
Oh
cannot
no,
walk
man.
outside.
I mean, it's the worst thing. You get that swamp ass. You
Exactly.
just you can't even
Exactly.
get away from it. Like, you take a shower and like 3 minutes later, your ass is like the fucking Everglades.
Yeah. So yeah, that's what they just gave up. They just sit in their banyans, their wife beaters, and they don't do shit.
Yeah.
Like I've
Well,
literally had to like self-service at a fucking chemist for prescription drugs because
you
he
had
just
to
did
just
not
suffer
care.
through it.
He just didn't give a
Wait,
fuck.
you went in the
He,
back and looked through his drugs?
yeah, I did. Like he just pointed in the general direction, and all his boxes were labeled. So like I found the meds I wanted, and then I paid him. They're so
Oh my
lazy,
god.
they don't want to give you
I
change.
know.
They don't want to give you your fucking change back, and they don't want to take extra
What?
money because it's too much
Dude,
of a hassle.
dude, straight up, India is the only place where like 5 rupees is worth more than 500 rupees. Because nobody will
No,
give you a
man,
5 rupee bill, man. Nobody,
no.
you cannot beg, like, you give someone 500 rupees and you need 5 rupees back, they will never ever give you 5 rupees back. They'll give you fucking bubble gum before they give you that 5 rupees.
No, so the scene is like in Delhi, we just like so if it's 495 or something in Delhi and most places in India, you're just gonna give him 500 bucks and you're gonna be like, fuck it, because
Yeah.
what's 5 rupees for you or
I don't
for
know.
him?
It's
Yeah,
bubble
no,
gum, man.
but the scene is in Calcutta, they do not want extra money. They don't want your fucking 5 rupees, but they don't want to give you 5 rupees either. And they really don't want to give you. Like if you go to a McDonald's in Delhi, he'll give you your change. Like
Yeah.
no questions asked. But the McDonald's guy here has refused to serve me my fucking order after it was ready because I didn't have change. I
Oh my
was like,
god.
take the fucking 8 rupees. I don't want it. He's like, no, I can't do that. I need 2 rupees from you. And I'm like, I don't fucking have 2 rupees, man.
He wouldn't give you 8 rupees change?
Yeah.
Really
Dude,
odd.
so I was buying beer, and he
Yeah.
actually asked me if I've ever been to a place where I've gotten 8 rupees back in change.
I don't
Because
know.
it was so unimaginable for me.
I think the only place I really get 8 rupees back in change is probably like Big Bazaar or something.
Yeah, I know, but it's not that uncommon, man. Because I'm not paying him
It's pretty
less,
uncommon. I mean,
I never do that.
nobody, everybody loves those small coins and the 10 rupee note and the 5 rupee note, man. I'm telling you, I'm onto
And
something.
why though? Because they don't fucking use it. So like, I started asking in the middle. I started
Those are
asking
so
them why they
rare,
like
man.
change
Like,
so much.
100 rupees comes around all the time, but you never have any float, basically. Because you need 5 rupees, 10 rupees, all these shitty notes to like run a business.
Yeah, you need it so that you can pay the fucking customer back, but he never pays the fucking customer back.
Yeah, but you're waiting for the really good customers, not the fucking like once in a lifetime. I want my goddamn change now, Deliwala.
Yeah, I'm not good enough for him.
Apparently not. You're not good enough for him. You're not Bengali, so.
Which is fine, which is fine because I always round up when I pay people. Naturally, that's what you do. But and in Delhi they're really happy, even if it's like $2 or something, and I'm like, keep it, and they're like, oh yeah, thanks a ton, and I'm like, yeah, whatever. But they just refuse in Calcutta. They feel offended.
Okay,
They feel
Vohra.
like I'm donating money to them. They're like, no, fuck you. Like, oh my god, because I hate carrying change. I hate carrying loose change. So I
Okay,
always
Vohra.
tell like the rickshaw guy or the like my tea shop or whatever. I'm like,
Okay.
keep the $4. A fucking guy chased me once. He like got out of his fucking shop and he walked behind. Like, he walked up to me and like gave me 4 rupees in coins. He's like, no, you will take this change.
Oh, it sounds like you. No.
Nah, it's ridiculous, man. And I just have no idea why they do it. I have no idea.
Yeah. Well,
Because I mean, think about it. If you are a shopkeeper, wouldn't you want big money? Because it's like it's consuming less space.
I don't know Vora, but I really don't give a fuck about people's small change. If they want to keep it, keep it. But you better give me some goddamn cool mints in return.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good deal too.
When did you go to Delhi last?
January.
I know, did you see everybody?
Yeah.
What'd you guys do?
Uh, okay, so I met Yasmin and Nisa and Rag and Bucky left like fucking 8:30 in the evening, being the motherfucker that he is.
Wait, why did like he
And
left? He just went home?
he's like, I need to go home, and he left at 8:30.
Well, like he can't be out. He's a fragile little guy.
So I met them, and we went on a Sam's bar in Paharganj,
Uh,
and then I met Nisa's boyfriend. He's a nice guy, and then
the new guy.
yeah, the new guy, exactly, yeah. Yeah, sweet
Uh,
guy. Sweet guy. Then we went to Nisa's place and like raided her alcohol and whatnot. And then I went from Nisa's place to drop Yasmin with Rag all
mhm.
the way to freaking Civil Lines, which is near where you guys stayed, you and Aman, up north.
New Rana Pratap, yeah, I know.
Yeah, and we got lost, and I was like really paranoid that Yasmin's gonna think we're being shady because I
Why?
was drunk.
Well, you look
So,
shady as shit. Like, just look at your profile picture here, man. You look like one of the accused.
but whatever. Fuck the profile pictures. All right, I do not look as shady as Rag.
Roy doesn't look that shady.
Rag?
He looks like a fucking Indian hipster.
No, that's when he's posing for his pictures. When he starts making those like faces, you know, shady.
What faces?
Like Rog's faces, man. He hardly
I don't.
talks ever. He communicates in faces.
That's because dude, Rob for some reason is like perpetually angry at some unknown like event. I'm so like when we went to Goa like in 12th grade during February. We went to Goa, and the only time like Rob would come out was during the day, and then at night when we wanted to go clubbing and stuff like that, and like go to Tito's and everything, he'd just go home with Cutie, the driver, who kind of had a thing for. But yeah, all he did was like sit at home. He was like really really pissed off for some reason.
My God, that sounds weird. I think his mom told him to stay home, so he was pissed, and he obliged also. like an idiot.
Yeah, like a real dum dum. And then
No,
Dhruv
me.
wouldn't come, of course, because like that flight from Delhi to Goa is way too expensive for his nuclear physicist dad to afford.
Man, no, Dhruv is an asshole. So he said, come to Paris in October with me, and I'm like, yeah, sure,
Hmm.
and then we can go visit Chris and whatnot. And he's like, yeah. And then I'm like, okay, bro, so like, let me
Yeah,
know. So like, in August, I was like, fucking tell me in August so that I can get my visa and I can book my tickets
dude, it's called
before the
it's
flight.
called Vor. It's called August.
What did I say?
August? They were super
August?
Indian, man.
August? The month after July, man. I told him to fucking the month after July, alright?
Yeah.
Yeah, so otherwise the tickets would be too expensive. But he's like, my
Well,
tickets will get booked. No, he's like, my tickets will get booked 2 weeks before I leave. And I don't care when you book your tickets. Just give me dates. And then he told me that he's going to leave end October because he knew I couldn't come.
dude, that
End
fucker.
of
Same thing that happened. Like Mark has his break coming up, and he has like three
uh,
weeks off at the end. So I was like, Mark, just come down to London, and maybe we'll go to Paris and see Drew, because Drew was hinting, I guess, that he was going to come to Paris to see his family at the end of March. So we're like, let's go over. Drew, I wrote Drew a couple times. Like, first time he's like, oh, I don't know when I'm coming. Then I wrote him again, just never replied, like a fucking chutya, like just a big old twat. Like, oh, no, not gonna fucking reply. So now me and Mark might go to Amsterdam or something. But like, fuck Drew.
So finally, he told me he's leaving end October because he knew my holidays are over then. And then
Yeah,
that asshole left on the 10th of October, man. I'm like, that's a fucking 20-day difference in your schedule. Like, how does that happen?
yeah, fucker.
I was just like, what?
Oh man, let's talk about some current stuff though. If you want to get into
Yeah,
it, uh,
right.
maybe about that current land bill. I don't know too much about it right now, but what's going on with that in India?
Well, I mean, I can give you
Give me the
an overview.
overview. Yeah, hook me up
So
with the
what
overview.
the overview. No, so what happened is, and this goes back like a while. So this was in the 50s. So we have a fundamental rights in India,
Yeah,
which like are your fundamental rights. So there's like your right to life, right to work, right to freedom of speech, and whatnot. And there used to be right to property.
mm,
And then in the 50s, the government decided, fuck that, I want everyone's property under the
yeah.
guise of redistribution, so like economic redistribution. And they amended the Constitution of India and they removed it as a fundamental right, and right to property became a legal right. And it was a huge scene, and there was a lot of cases where like judges were going back and forth whether that's
But the
like
thing about
doable or
that
not.
land redistribution only ever happened in Kerala.
It happened. It happened everywhere, but it only happened like so. It was. I mean,
It,
I don't know if
dude,
it was.
how does that happen everywhere when like in UP like fucking 10 people own all of the land?
Like, yeah, then people own all the land because it happened.
That doesn't make any sense. What's the economic redistribution there then? Fucking give it to all the rich people?
So they took it from a bunch of rich people and they gave it to other rich people.
Currying favor politically then.
And yeah. So now there was our old land acquisition act, wherein
Yeah.
like the government could just dick around a lot. Like they can take land and they don't need to do anything with it. They can take land and they didn't necessarily have to like compensate you. And the rates of compensation were really outdated.
Yeah.
They didn't have to cite reasons per se, so they could cite anything. They could actually say for economic development, and it would mean that Marriott is opening a new hotel, which makes no sense.
Yeah.
So then the
Mm.
UPA drafted a bill, the 2013 land acquisition bill, which was really good. It was quite progressive. So they require a social impact assessment, a compulsory assessment before the acquisition takes place. They expanded the the types of people who have to be compensated. So before it was the residents, so
Yeah.
like immediate people immediately being impacted, but now it's anyone who draws profit from that land. So if there's like a merchant who comes by once a week to sell some shit to those villagers, he needs to be compensated because you're taking that consumer base away from him.
Hmm.
And as a two, three other things, I think they try to introduce land for land because a big issue with monetary compensation is a farmer who can only farm, and you take away his farmland and you just give him a bunch of money. He literally has no idea to doesn't know what to do with it. He doesn't know what the fuck investment banking is or what stocks and shares are or even like real estate investments. He has no idea. All he's ever known is how to farm, and you're taking that away. So they thought of land to land compensation, but I don't think it got passed. And the issue now is that the BJP government, a new government, is trying to change the land acquisition bill, and that's where I'm not too clued up because all this has happened very recently. It's like over the past month or
Well,
so.
the things they wanted to change in it is like they basically just want to be able to sell that fucking land to multinational companies and take it whenever they want. From what I saw about it, like that's literally all they're gonna do. Because I'm pretty sure all Modi ever wanted to do was dress up in suits and shake hands with really rich people, but corporate mega deals and kind of pretend India's developing.
See, they can still take it whenever they want. They literally still
Yeah,
can.
but like Modi's whole concept of economic development is based around fucking just big deals, multinational corporations coming, and that's his idea of fucking development. And it doesn't exist because in a country where people can't fucking read and basically what like being literate is writing your goddamn name. Like how the fuck does like paying Walmart to come in and develop like fucking fruity juice help anybody? You can shake all these hands and all have all kinds of pitches, but if it doesn't do shit for like the regular base of people, the average people, what the fuck you gonna do, man?
Yeah, exactly. So
You
it's
people,
actually I think this argument happened in the States as well, wherein he essentially is trying to lean towards creating jobs, whereas what
look,
we should be doing is creating opportunities wherein a man can sort of own a business. So
well,
the UPA,
what it
yeah,
is you're not doing is like you want to create jobs, but there have to be people to fill those fucking jobs first of all. And
so
India
that's the
has
same.
1/3 of the fucking poor in the whole world, and how's 400 million people supposed to? They have no education, no anything. So you can create all the jobs, but you still have empty. You have no candidates for those
Exactly. So
jobs.
the fallacy here, or the logical fallacy in his theory is this. Basically, he will create jobs. There's no doubt about it. And it will create jobs for the people you're talking about. However, a huge chunk of your poor in India aren't jobless. They have jobs. So you have your daily laborers or you have your rickshaw pullers. They're poor. Like they are below poverty line, so they're not the poorest, but they make a large majority of your poor. And if you bring these businesses in, the only reason they're coming in is for cheap labor. So what you're doing is you're
Yeah,
perpetuating the low standard of living, which makes their sort of labor wages cheap. So like, do you see what I'm saying? So you can see
yeah,
that.
yeah.
So one thing he says is the kite making industry in Gujarat grew from a net worth of 30 crores to some 100 crores when he was chief minister. But that does not mean that the guy sitting there and making kites was paid more. It just means that the people who own sort of these kite making enterprises or whatever, like it'll be a hut
Mm.
with like 20 guys making kites. But the guy
Yeah.
who owns the hut and who's paying those kite making guys, he got rich. But the guys making the fucking kites
Yeah.
didn't necessarily earn more money. And that therein is where the fantasy lies. And the fuck up is that the opposition's never gonna lay it out like that.
Well, the fucked up thing is you're taking an economic development model, basically the American model, where Walmart, a company like Walmart, makes that family who runs Walmart, I forget what their name is, but they're worth like $12 billion, and they make that in a fucking year. And the people working at Walmart have to be subsidized by the government.
Exactly.
It's like there's
And
no
that
incentive for the people who own the business to pay more
now,
to their workers in that
now, now,
situation.
Yeah, but the bigger issue is that even the opposition, so no politician will ever come out and say this in India because he knows that when he comes into okay, so if the Congress came into power, they would literally do what Modi is doing right now,
Yeah.
and
Well,
it's literally keeping the masses in the dark. And I tried, I think it's there on the blog as well,
yeah.
the literacy of politics rather, in that.
Yeah, you wrote that one, huh?
Yeah, yeah, and I mean I don't have empirical proof because there isn't enough investigative journalism happening, and I mean I will definitely go further into it when I have time, but I can safely say that the politicians want India to remain uneducated because the moment the masses are educated in India, they're done,
Yeah.
you know.
Well, nobody would ever accept being treated the way these politicians have treated the country for so long if they were educated.
Exactly, exactly, which is why the Naxalbari movement was so important.
Well, there's a really funny contradiction with the Maoists and everything there because Mao
Not the
himself,
Maoists.
the Naxalbaris are the Maoists.
No, they're different. That's the scene. So the Maoists started sort of funding and providing the Naxalites with weapons and training and whatnot, but they're different. So the Naxals have actually no, or at least had, they've changed a lot because they started in the 70s. They actually had no communist agenda. They had no Maoist agenda. What happened is it started in a place called Naxalbari in West
Yeah.
Bengal, and they didn't want the government they had because that government was corrupt as shit. And they actually went through the official channels first, try to challenge them in court, filed these things called public interest litigations. They're kind of like class action suits, but they're not exactly like class action suits. Regardless, the
Great
government
fucking
just didn't.
description.
No, yeah, so like
Yeah.
a private public interest litigation. So for a class action suit, you need a certain number of plaintiffs. You need a
Yeah.
certain number of people bringing the suit, but in a public interest litigation, it can just be one man bringing the suit as long as it's in the best interest of the public. So, I can say that there's too much pollution or there's not enough water treatment plants in my city, and no one needs to come with me to court to bring that complaint, and that's how it's different. But regardless, what happened is the Naxalbari guys, they finally just gave up. They took to arms, and they weren't violent right off the bat. They actually threatened the government. They said, "Step down. We're taking to arms," and the government tried to fight them, which is why essentially it got violent. It was revolution. It was straight up revolution, and that's another issue with the branding. Like they've been branded as insurgents, and they've been tagged
So,
with the Maoists,
straight
but
up,
it's not.
Vohra, in that country, those people are so in the fucking right that for the government to call them insurgents, the government without weapons has done worse to the country than those people with weapons. It's a fucking
Exactly.
joke. And
Exactly.
even the army in places like Kashmir in the northeast, they fucking rape women and take them out in the field and shoot them in the vagina so you can't get any DNA from them. So don't act like the government is some fucking wondrous creation in India.
No, no, I was criticizing the government.
Yeah.
I
So it's just
was
my
saying that
general.
no, of course. See what the government did is okay. Look, it the Naxalbari movement is a or was a revolution. It was a straight up revolution against a government that was failing, and they didn't want that to become a nationwide thing. So what they did is they just tagged the Naxalbari movement along with the sort of Chinese insurgencies or whatever you want to call them, communist uprisings or whatever,
Yeah.
and they created this picture of the Naxalites, which is completely untrue. Now, the fuck up is that today, the Naxalites today have been corrupted by the power they themselves sought to overthrow. Because the moment the government does agree, and the government has of late tried to agree to a lot of their terms, the moment the conflict is dead, they lose their power. So now the
Uh,
Naxalites want to fuel the conflict itself because they want that
well,
conflict to exist so that
one,
the violence can.
dude, the Naxalites are a fucking unsuccessful bunch of gorillas right now. It doesn't make any sense in a country that size that you couldn't have a successful guerrilla warfare, especially with how many poor
Right,
there
and
are.
that's what I'm saying. So, what would you say would be successful? What would you say has to happen for them to succeed?
Right now, you have to actually get, there has to be a mass revolution. You have to have popular support and popular draw to arms.
That's not what I mean. What I mean is, if tomorrow I am to say that the Naxalite guerrilla movement has succeeded, what would that entail?
Until the overthrow of the current government.
Exactly. And once the current government is overthrown, there the Naxalites have no more use. You don't need them anymore, and
What
they
are you,
hold no
Vohra, what are you
power.
talking about? In what other country do the revolutionaries come to control the country, and then you just turn around? We don't need you anymore. Those people who have control of the group would become like the president and everything, the foreign minister, all those things. They take the same bureaucratic
That's
roles.
exactly the point. So the whole movement is that they don't want that. They don't want to rule the people, and that's how they have the whatever backing they do have. Is that we are the people, and we're taking to arms against our tyrants. So they can never become the tyrants themselves, even if they're fair and they're just tyrants.
What? That's their concept. So
It,
what
it,
the?
it, it literally.
So
So it's exactly
if that's their
it's a catch.
concept,
It's, I mean, the way I see it is that it's a catch 22. They can't succeed because if they succeed, they need to give the power back to the people. And, besides just being the guardians of sorts to make sure that the government isn't corrupted again, they really don't hold any power beyond that. If the current government stops dicking around and starts being good to the people, again they become redundant because there is no enemy to fight. And
well,
the Naxalite movement's gotten corrupted itself. So the rapes you were talking about with the army, the Naxalites are raping too. So today, the recruitment, the Naxalite recruitment is literally walking up to like kids, who are like 13 or 15, pointing a gun at them and saying either join us or we're going to shoot you.
yeah.
So like that, and it's really sad because when the movement started, it was really commendable, and I hated the media and I hated our government,
Or
but
you
they
weren't
fucked
alive when the
themselves.
movement started.
No, I read about it.
Yeah, you talk like it's the present tense. It's like was it?
I'm sorry,
It's
but
like
no,
sometime during your life.
it's and the Naxalites being corrupted is not that old either. It's really recent. So like in the 90s and the early 2000s, they were still true to what they were. It's only of late that it's just gone to their head, because they've been around for 30 years, man, and no one can touch them. I mean, they have
Oh
to
yeah.
fight, obviously. They're all
One thing
always.
they haven't really done much themselves. Like Mao took 30 years to conquer all of China. These Naxalites took 30 years what to live in a fucking bush.
It's
They've done
exactly my point
nothing.
because they got. So you have these people who are from
But yeah,
tiny.
but with this whole corruption, like in the late 2000s, wouldn't that kind of adheres with the timeline with what Prime Minister Sagan, his like attack on the Naxalites? Did you not think they've been infiltrated by like Raw and all those organizations?
What do you mean?
Like the Indian government is probably the one that corrupted them by putting in sleeper cells
Sure,
in their
sure.
groups and stuff like
I
that.
mean,
If
whatever
there's
reason.
if there's been such a change, that would kind of explain the change to make them unpopular.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I can't fault you on that, but the point is that the movement has been corrupted.
Yeah, well, just like everything in India, everything gets corrupted eventually.
Exactly, and the fuck up is um, education, man, and I don't mean education in the Indian sense. Like in the Indian sense, education just means what job you're gonna get. People go to school so they can get good marks, so they can go to good college, so they can get more good marks, so they can get a good job. By
Yeah,
education, I actually mean like the fucking values you learn. For me, education comes like from your household as well as your school, and it's important that like we become liberal and essentially educate our kids, like really educate them in school, because there's two ways a kid learns anything, right? It's passed down by his parents, and you learn it with, so you learn something new with your friends. And all these
yeah,
sort of traditional views of women that we have, like the fucked up views, it's only going to change once our schools teach the kids that that's fucked up. And
Well,
then
one, you
he's
have to have schools that actually like are functioning because most of the state schools aren't functioning right now.
yeah, no, it's fucked. It's fucked. It really
Nine,
is fucked.
not, well, I was on some NGO site the other day, and I think it was saying 90% of Indian children don't finish school.
It's believable. It's more
Like,
than the functioning of the schools. That the 90% has other reasons, and they're even more fucked up. Like, I
yeah.
don't know, did you come to the villages with us in Woodstock?
Yeah, I've been to those villages in the backwoods. I've talked to guys who've taught in those villages back there, and he was telling me uh, they had three teachers for this one school, and they all made a deal basically. So like one teacher would teach each week, and so there was
Mhm.
only one teacher for the whole school of probably like 100 plus children each week.
Yeah,
And whenever they found out like the what is it called like the superintendent was coming around, they'd all three of them would just show up for that week then. But otherwise, you had like a 2 week vacation period in between your next week of work all
right.
the
But
time.
why do you think this kind of complacency stands?
I don't know, it's hard to explain, and it's because there's no actual structured administration involved there. There's no punishments for not showing up to your job.
That's the scene. That's the scene. A teacher can't teach an empty classroom, right? So the fuck up is, yes, of course, our education system or our
Yeah,
state.
but children can't. 100 children can't learn from one teacher when they're all aged from like 5 to 17.
I agree with you. However, the parents and the kids themselves, they leave school. So it's
That's because there's no benefits in it, man. If you think about it, what benefits are you getting from going to school? Maybe if you're like one in a fucking million, you have a shot at getting into a school, like a university. If you stay all the way through and pay all those expensive ass fees, maybe
so
you
that
get a chance to be like a fucking call center agent.
so that's the fuck up, man. You have to start somewhere. Obviously, the first. So I mean, okay, think of it as simple supply and demand, or the recent article I sent you.
Sold
Um,
me. I'm buying them from you, Vohra.
exactly. We live in a very, very capitalist society, and capitalism and consumerism in itself, I'm not a big fan, but I don't think
I don't think
it's
India is
as
that capitalist if you think about it.
it is. It is. It
On
is.
the
It's not
individual,
on
not not talking
no
about the
not
society. I'm talking about individuals.
no even individuals. So not on the face of it, or not in the literal sense capitalist. But in India, I guarantee you, dude, everyone is trying to sell you something. Like me, right now, I'm trying to sell you the fact that India is capitalist, and that is just how India operates. I mean, think back to all the Indian
Well,
people
that's
you
how
chill
they
with
do
in
it.
school.
For that argument is like everybody's trying to sell everybody something doesn't make it capitalist at all. It's just basically an exchange of ideas right here. But like, not everybody's
No,
trying to sell someone something, I don't think, especially in
no, because
India.
if you look back at Marx or Lenin and their ideas, it in the operation of their society, you aren't really selling. The only thing being sold to you is that you need to lead a life for the betterment of the society you live in. And within that society, no one sells anything to anyone. So no one has to convince you
But
beyond you
within those
fighting.
man, their societies were a fucked up way to make a lot of people at the top really, really rich. It's basically a class of society entails making everybody poor.
Yeah, now see that's the fuck up. So I'm just giving you an example though. That's the flaw in
Mhm.
that sort of system. But what I'm trying to get at is that if our masses don't demand education, they're not gonna get it. It's as simple as that.
Well, that's a little paradox, though. But like,
It is, and that's the
like,
fuck
'cause
up. Yeah, again, it's
you
as
need
you
the
can do.
education to be able to like understand that you need education to ask for education. Basically,
Exactly.
it's
So
a
now,
strange
so now, so
paradox in
now,
there.
so now you say that you want the school. So now you put the prerogative on the government to sort of start the cycle of improvement. So you say that we want better schools, we want more teachers. Now he'll tell you no one's willing to become a teacher because the wages are so low.
One, you do what Castro did, because when he came to power in Cuba,
Yeah.
Most Cubans were illiterate. What he did was he closed down the universities for one whole year. I think it may have been even two. And he told all the students in there, the people who are literate and smart enough to actually be teachers, he told them go to the rural areas and you're going to teach people how to read and write. And that's what he did, and that's how Cuba became literate.
Do you really
It
think that
needs
could happen in India?
it takes extreme measures. The country's fucking in shambles. It's falling apart. They talk about making nice railways and stuff, but they don't talk about actually benefiting the
Imagine
country itself. It,
if you do
it
that.
ta- what do you mean if you do that? You have to force people to do fucking something. They sit up. There's
Exactly.
no compassion in the country. People
But
get
that's
raped and people don't bat an eye. It's a fucking horror show of a nation right now.
and that's when you have the essential go-to answer for every bureaucrat is the Constitution of India. They can't pass a law stating that all university students have to teach kids how
Well,
to read and write.
you know what? They declared an emergency just to get the communist governor of Kerala out. Declare a fucking emergency to benefit the country then.
Yeah, and that's never gonna happen.
It will happen someday.
Who's gonna declare emergency, man?
If you don't want to do it, you're gonna have Chinese boots on your fucking throat. If you don't throw some vinegar on that string of pearls they're tying around India's neck.
No, man, that's never gonna happen.
Dude, India
China,
is Canada has almost the same GDP as fucking India. Do you realize
all right.
that? And India likes to compare itself to China. They make as much money in India. The gross domestic product is as much as fucking 30 million people in Canada.
That's
Does
all
that
right,
make any
man.
sense?
But no, so there's two. I'm not saying that we'll be economically as good as China, but I'm saying that China can never invade India.
Yeah, they can. They're in Pakistan. They're in Sri Lanka. They're
Let them
looking to
be
go
in
into
Pakistan or
Burma.
Sri Lanka. They just aren't. It is literally too expensive to invade India.
It's
You
not
can't.
too. They don't want to invade India. They want to neutralize India as a threat.
Which is silly because we've never been a threat to China.
The one they still India is like basically it's the Japan situation. India is on one front and Japan's on the other front for China.
See, the scene with India
They,
is
they want they want Asian dominance. China. You don't. It's not like the Indian concept be and let live and let live as India does and just doesn't have a foreign policy. Basically, China actually wants
no,
Asian
we
dominance.
have a foreign policy, and our foreign policy is shit.
Yeah, it's basically do nothing. Like
Yeah,
just
the
fucking sit.
Nehru's policy was what's it called? Non-aggression, non
No, I think
something.
I think his policy was get your ass whooped in the Sino-Indian War.
No, that was actually so. What happened is a couple of generals who were really close to Nehru were positioned in very tactically important areas, and they fucked up. Like they fucked up big time. That war actually, no, I won't say we could have won it,
No,
but
you
we
couldn't.
definitely had a chance of not getting whooped. It was just tactical ineptitude on the
Yeah,
part
yeah,
of like us.
well, I think in the Northeast, China advanced like fucking 500 kilometers in four
Yeah,
days.
because those fucking idiots giving the orders were retarded,
Yeah.
and he fucked off. So when the Chinese reached, he just left, and people actually took bullets protecting that idiot while he ran away to Delhi.
Well, yeah, it sorted out the most of the border dispute for like the Chinese at the time. That was their goal for that.
Mm, yeah. It also helped improve our military a lot. Like that's the first ass kicking we got.
For the actually, India really gave up a really strategic point as Aksai Chin because Aksai Chin's the connection between Northeast China and Tibet. It's like the only road connection, which India gave up. So if India didn't give up that piece of land, China would not have a connection between two of their biggest provinces.
Yeah, fair enough.
I don't know. That was all like a big fuck up anyway back then.
No, yeah. No, but we're not all that bad right now either as a country. See, that's
Yeah,
the scene. Why?
not so bad. People getting raped every day, children going missing every
What I
day.
mean is, if you think within spans of about 3 decades, what I said before this national elections happened was that, and I feel why it was so publicized and it was sort of so crucial is because the next 10 years are going to decide whether we're going to like live like we have been for the last 60 years or whether we're actually going to make something. And we have to decide now. Like now is the time when India actually has to like realize whether they want to do something with themselves or not. Because 10 years from now it'll be too late. Like do you get what I mean? Like this could be
Oh,
the turning point.
more kind of like that conception. It's not really ever too late because we just view it in the time span of our own lives, and the whole
No.
and the whole length of human history. The next 10 years
So
really.
see, so that's the thing. China has done really well, but they fucked themselves with the one-child policy because what's happened now is our generation. They have more jobs in China than people. And what happens because of that is that our generation, not only does our generation in China have more than two elderly to look after, and I don't mean to like immediately look after, but the burden of pension, right? So the pension's gonna come from tax money. Now in India, where you have like fucking five people for every one person from like the previous generation, that one person's pension is divided amongst five people. In China, it's the other way around. Not just that, you have empty sort of jobs. You have jobs just empty. And India needs to decide whether we're going to send people there, whether we're going to get those jobs to India, because we'll have about 30 years to capitalize on that, because I'm sure China will come up with some fucking way to fix it. But we will have that window. I mean, the Chinese economists, like
That's
the
because
government,
the Chinese economy is going to go to the next level of development, like the service level of development, financial capital, and stuff like that. It's not going to be always just manufacturing based. I think that they're going to have to
yeah,
start
I
moving away
agree
from
with you.
that now.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. They'll fix it, but there will be a slump.
Be a
And
small sum for China. It's not going to be noticeable because they have a command economy they can fucking control. They can tell people where to go and what to do. So it's much easier for them to deal with a problem like that than it is for a democracy where everyone has a choice.
fair enough, but the point is that we can now either capitalize on that. And again, I'm not saying capitalize in the sense like become bigger than China in any way, but actually become something, right?
Well,
It's
maybe,
the only chance.
build an all-weather road to a school, not have fucking maniacs on TV talking about how women don't have places in our culture. That doesn't even make sense. Then what are you gonna do? Go fuck like a rug, roll up a piece of toilet paper, and like fuck your hand? It doesn't make any sense saying that. God, people, man, some people are just so dumb.
Yeah, that's part of the problem. It's the
Yeah.
mentality. It's a very Indian thing to say. It's the people's mentality.
Oh, my idea was like there was never an Indian identity created. That was kind of the problem after independence. You just had all these fragmented identities, and that one like solid concept of India was never ever
But
shown.
you're not alone. There's been a lot of previous sort of political thinkers who said the exact same thing, and interestingly, half of them are like right wing sort of Hindu extremists
Hmm.
who feel that the Hindu identity should have been
Oh,
what
as
we
well.
followed.
That's a joke, but like I'm talking about like a secular, religiously tolerant identity that actually India can grow around, not some Hindu radical garbage that is
Right.
just India's only for Indians, except that India's had like a, a thousand religions in it since its inception. So that like subcontinent's been full of Muslims and Christians and Jains and Sikhs and Hindus forever.
Right. So that's actually a huge point of discussion in sort of the legal circles, because a huge part of what goes into making laws is because the Congress government, often to placate your minority voters, sort of gave differential rights. So you have different laws for marriage between the Hindus and the Muslims. You have different succession laws. So like if someone dies and his property is
Yeah.
being given next to kid, it's different. It's different based on religion. And me included, a lot of sort of jurists or legal thinkers feel that that's fucked up. Because what you're doing
Yeah.
is you're not being secular, but you're being communal. You're saying that because you're a different religion, the law will treat you differently. And it's a huge reason for that identity not arising. Because it's since independence, there's always been a bunch of people saying that we need a universal civil code. Follow whatever religion you have to, but for fuck's sake, everyone's gonna marry one woman, and the property that has to be passed down will be.
Well, then like that concept of marrying one woman also that's also forcing the Christian concept of morality on India,
No, I mean,
because that's where it's gonna come from. It's gonna come from British common law.
so what? At least it's universal.
But British common law is based on Judeo-Christian values.
Anyway, dude, you get the point. Make it 3 wives if you want. Make it whatever.
Yeah.
But the point is the point is that the law that everyone is subject to. Essentially, what I'm saying is
Yeah, the letter of the law has to apply to everyone equally,
yeah,
and in the same way.
exactly, and
I
it
agree
has to
with
be
that.
separate from religion. So there's the separation of your center and sorry, your state and your religion, right, or your church in sort of the
Yeah.
Western historical uh, perspective, which hasn't happened. And the fuck up in India is that the people on top or the people in power are actually really smart. They're just really subtle about this shit. You have your Dalits, right? So you want to the Congress Party, Nehru, etc. They're like, okay, we will eradicate casteism. How will you eradicate casteism? You will give a fucking quota for Dalits. Now, to be applicable for that quota, you have to prove that you are a Dalit. So what you've done is you fucking perpetuated the caste system.
No, it's just that's a ridiculous thing to do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It is like balls out stupid, and that's one of the biggest arguments I have against some of the feminists, some of the viewpoints coming out of the feminist movement is for differential rights. Give extra rights to women to compensate, which is crap because you're increasing the divide. What it should be is gender
What
blindness.
what type of extra rights are they calling for in India for women?
Again, you want quota systems, you want, so you make
Well,
an argument that women are paying less.
I
So
don't agree with the quota
yeah,
system doesn't make any sense because it should be the best candidate for the position gets the job.
exactly.
And if you,
So right,
and you have to take people's names off the application, then do it. Make everybody have a number on their application and just applies to them, and just so nobody can be biased that way.
it's true.
And
Good,
all through the interview process, just have them referred to as that number until you actually offer them the job.
fair enough.
That
But
would get rid of it. I think
what, the gender divide or
a lot of it.
yeah.
No,
No, so,
the cast isn't.
so the casteism thing is that we fucked with the Dalits for like millennia, because of which they're poor.
Yeah.
So we're gonna give them quotas. Now that makes sense, but it really doesn't because now you have the creamy layer, wherein there's rich kids, uh, whose
Oh,
parents
I
have
love
already
that on the
posted.
applications, the creamy layer.
No. There isn't a quota called the creamy layer, but there is a creamy layer of
Yeah, there
Dalits.
is. There's a
Yeah,
non-creamy layer. Like I looked on like the DU
are you serious?
site, and they have like a quota. They have a quota for non-creamy layer people.
That's fucked up. So no, so and
Well,
interestingly,
it's a really weird way to refer to people, creamy layer.
this was back in like the 60s or so, I think, when the quota system was introduced first, and the courts struck it down. The courts were like, you can suck a dick. All the judges unanimously wanted it to be economically based. They wanted a quota for economically backward classes. They're like, because again, that's universal. It doesn't matter if you're Hindu or Muslim or Sikh or fucking Dalit or Kshatriya or Brahmin. If you're fucking poor, then we're gonna help you out. It's as simple as that. But no, the government again found some fucking bypass. They did it again. The court struck it down. The court struck it down a third time. They just went ahead and amended the fucking constitution. And you'd be surprised. in the article, which is Article 14 of I don't remember which article it is, which is about basically the article states that there should be no discrimination made on the basis of religion or gender or caste. And then in that article they amended it with a clause saying, except in the case of scheduled caste and scheduled tribes, wherein we can discriminate in order to sort of give quotas. And I'm just like, what the fuck?
Then everything else goes out of kilter. You might as well throw the previous statement out the window.
Exactly. So it's like we'll be secular, but we won't.
Yeah, of course. Everything's a contradiction.
It's silly as fuck.
It's a bit ridiculous. Are you nearly done your school?
Yeah, I'm like a year off now.
You still got a year left?
Mm-hmm.
Oh shit, man. You ever gonna become a lawyer?
No.
No, you're not planning. Or are you just going to go to Bollywood?
Yeah. No, man. I get a job, like some fucking in-house counsel sorts, and sort of film stuff in my free time. Like I have a lot of ideas lined up already.
Oh, what's your plan?
That's the plan, man. So, like,
No,
I want to adapt.
what are your ideas that you have lined up?
Sort of adapt King Lear in like the slums in Delhi. Should be
Adapt
interesting.
what?
King Lear, it's a Shakespeare play.
Okay, in the slums in Delhi.
Yeah, so King Lear is essentially like this king. He's really rich. He wants to leave all his money and wealth to one of his three daughters. So he asks each three to do something to show him how much they love him. And the first two daughters like buy him expensive shit. And the third daughter tells him to fuck off. She's like, I shouldn't have to prove my love. And then he mysteriously dies, and she knows that the other daughters are dicking around and whatnot. But I want to do this whole thing like in a slum in Delhi.
The performance or the setting?
Like, yeah, the setting and rewrite the script in a like Hindi and whatnot, you know?
Okay, that's interesting. Were you gonna perform at Akshara?
No, it's gonna be a film. Why the fuck would I perform a film in a freaking on a stage? What the fuck?
What, you just said it was a Shakespeare play.
I'm adapting it into a film set in the slums.
Well, you did not say that, okay? Fucking
I
Akshay
did.
Kumar, settle the fuck down.
No. And another idea I had was taking like a tracking shot. So, like, you watch Birdman, right?
No, I haven't watched Birdman.
Oh, okay. So these things called tracking shots, which are basically like shots without any edits or cuts.
Yeah.
And I want to do like this long ass one of a tourist landing in Delhi. So, like, say she lands and the camera will be in the cab, and I just want to like basically like 4 hours or so. Like 4 hours is too long. I don't know. Like the taxi ride to her home, her meeting her relatives, and essentially like an outsider's view of India. Just because Indians don't really fucking understand sometimes like what they're doing wrong.
But like, didn't Todi do that basically with his little video of returning home?
No, he's not American. Fuck him.
Well, he did have that little video where he made the surprise return home.
Nah, man. So this will always be scripted. It won't be impromptu, and it'll be more towards the technical side. So it's not really about the story or about the tourists. Like we have many fucking films like that, like White Chick in Delhi. Like it's been done many times. But it's more about the technical aspect of the sort of filmmaking, where you can have a camera following her. And you can have beggars sort of begging, and the cameraman can just go and crouch next to a beggar and stick his arm out. So the viewer, you as the viewer, are going to be sifting in and out of perspectives, right? So you could be viewing from the perspective of someone.
Why didn't you just go to film school?
So that's the plan, man. I'll work for 3 years or so, and I'll do all these things in my free time. And if they're good, if they turn out good, I'll just go to film school after that. If they don't, I'll probably just go to like an MBA or some corporate sellouty thing.
MBA. Yeah, I'll actually
It's a good.
Yeah, it sounds interesting. I got into Hong Kong for international journalism.
Oh yeah, you going?
Yeah. Yeah, I'll probably be going in September over there. It's between Hong Kong and like Bangalore. I
What?
was thinking. What? What do you mean? What?
You got into like a college in Bangalore as well?
Yeah.
Which one, man?
It's the Indian Institute of New Media and Journalism.
Like IINMJ?
I don't know, it's some big acronym, of course, because India
Because
loves
it's
fucking
India.
acronyms. Yeah. You ever look at that, like the side of the newspaper on like Sunday where they have all the acronyms with job postings and everything? Holy shit.
Yeah, no. You should go to Hong Kong, man. I mean, I don't know. We don't really have our journalism programs aren't really that great in India.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I should probably go somewhere good, then come back and provide actual
Yeah,
journalism in
exactly.
India.
Exactly.
Like, 'cause that would make
And
sense. Because
and the
Indian,
scene in India is the scene in India is they don't really care about your work much, but they look at the degree you have
yeah,
to
no,
sort of get just to get in the scene, right? Just to get hired by a media house that has a voice. I mean, they're out for the
well, I don't
work
know.
you do. It's up to you.
Well, no, I was planning on like beginning my own platform and everything. That's what this whole thing is about. It's just kind of creating a foundation for like a platform that I can use to get my message out there.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
Yeah, it's just so it starts up and I have
Looks
something to
nice,
work
man.
on
I want
afterwards.
to ask you, who designed the logo?
Who designed the logo?
Yeah.
Actually, I found it online on one of those like logo generators.
Like you see, it looks nice. And I'm like, there's no way fucking Chris designed it.
Of course not. I'm like a techno tard man.
No, but you were good at art. I remember. No,
I
you
was
weren't.
good.
You
No, I was good at art. I was good at like abstract art because it
yeah,
didn't
exactly.
require
You
me
just
to
used to
have.
figure out, man. You just used to break shit and spoil it, and then you used to say it's abstract.
No, what happened that time was like I was trying to make a really like one of those. We're making teapots basically, and I tried to make a hammer and sickle teapot, but there's air
Oh,
pockets in it, so it
yeah.
exploded in the pan, and it destroyed everybody else's teapot. Well, mine ended up looking better because I just took a piece of wood, painted the American flag on it, and then made communism crumbling on top of the American flag, so it's like a nice little political piece. And then I did better than everybody else in the class.
And that was your fucking teapot?
Well, because she had to amend the rules for me because she's like, oh fuck you, like your teapot's not really like you can't pour tea with it because it's not a pot.
Yeah,
And
no
I was like,
shit.
and then I was like, it's cool. Everybody else's was destroyed just enough to like maybe try to put it just enough maybe so you could try to put it back together, but it still looked like shit. So I did really good.
Man, talk about sabotage.
Yeah, man.
Oh shit, this really interesting show by the way. It's called The Americans.
I'm
It
not gonna watch. I heard like radio advertisements when I was like driving around in Canada for that, and I was just
it's interesting. It gets sappy at times because it is designed for like your fucking.
dude,
It's
oh my
designed for.
god, the people who have to work for the evil empire, and like they have to sacrifice all these things for their country, and like America doesn't ask their spies to go abroad and like fucking suck some big African's dick.
What? What?
Well,
Anyway,
that's the concept of the show, isn't it?
yeah. No, it's basically a couple of KGB agents who are pretending to be.
Who the fuck is that?
I don't know, man. Someone knocking on my door, and I don't know how to. Should I just tell them to come back?
No.
Give me 10 minutes, man. I'm on the phone. Yeah.
Oh, knocking on the door louder and asking your name louder doesn't make you be in your room. He does realize that, right?
No.
No, of course not. Do you guys have
Yeah.
like lights out and everything?
No, you mad? It's college.
Yeah, but it's Indian college. I thought they'd try to like place some
No, we.
morals on you guys.
Luckily, I ended up in a really liberal college, so they have check-in. still in other colleges. We
Yeah.
don't. They don't really give a fuck about what we're doing. Like I can fuck off from campus and no one's gonna.
Well, there's really nowhere to go anyway, so you might as well stay
Either I
inside.
could just, like I could just leave and come to Delhi, and no one here will know. Like no one, none of the admin will know or care. Actually, just like whatever.
Oh, well, that's good, I think,
Yeah, that is good. That is good.
because like, oh, where was it?
Yeah.
Well, that's what I was thinking about, but
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, good. Have you seen? When's the last time you saw Dhruv?
I saw him at his place with his girlfriend and Rag.
Oh yeah, yeah. His freelance model who only models when all the pretty people are gone.
Wait, what? No, she's not a. That's Rag's girlfriend.
No, that's Dhruv's girlfriend.
No, Drew's girlfriend's the one who makes videos of her doing makeup.
No, Dhruv's girlfriend's the one who's like a freelance model.
But that's Rag's girlfriend, man. I'm telling you.
No, yeah, I'm not. I'm not telling you. I know this.
Bro, so Rag's girlfriend is a freelance amateur model. Drew's girlfriend is a freelance writer who makes YouTube videos of makeup tips.
Who the fuck wants that?
I don't fucking know. She sent it to me to watch. I'm like, what the fuck am I supposed to do with this?
I don't know. Look super pretty. You can dress like
Yeah.
a Hydra.
Dude, I fucking got assaulted by one. It was horrible.
Which she like
She
jerked
grabbed
you
my
off.
dick. She grabbed my dick. Because I refused to give her money. I'm like, I'm going to the fucking hospital. So she just grabbed my dick and what the fuck are you doing?
You were going to the hospital. Were you hurt?
No, I got like some vertigo or some shit. I don't know.
You got hurt? Oh, she just grabs your dick.
Yeah, man. It was just like, what?
He or she grabs your dick. Oh my god, that's hilarious. Were you into it, Vohra?
No. You know, and
Sure.
it's a scene, dude, because you can't fight them. Because the moment you try to, there'll be like 50 more, and they'll just kick
Yeah, you
your
get
ass.
stomped out by some females.
Exactly, exactly. And you don't want that, man. That's just way too embarrassing. You're just like, fuck it. Fuck it. No,
That's
I
hilarious.
swatted her away. I actually just swatted her away. I felt like I was swatting away a flag.
Or
I'm
it's
really
not the
conflicted
truth,
about
man.
them. I'm
What are
really
you
conflicted
conflicted about?
because they have this huge movement in India too about how they're marginalized and looked down upon. But at the same time, they do shit like this, and you're just like, well, fuck you then, right? I mean, you want your rights, but don't fucking go around grabbing people's dick.
What? None of them can have any rights now because they grabbed your fucking love triangle.
No, they should have rights, but they also so it amongst
Look,
other things
Ron,
what they'll do is
amongst other things, probably if yeah they want rights, but they shouldn't be going around grabbing a handful of your dick. But
or anyone's dick or your dick. No, but what they'll do is they'll land up in marriages or birthdays or when babies are born, and they'll just
yeah,
harass the fuck out of you, man.
yeah, yeah, I know that. Like they're pretty creepy.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
So
not like
I'm all for sort of the rights for those that are marginalized, but there's a way
machine.
of demanding them, man.
I love how in India there's three genders legally, but there's you like homosexuality is illegal.
Yeah, dude, we're fucked up. I'm telling you.
How does that even make
Because
sense? Like, so what
eh,
defines homosexuality? Can like a female and a guy go bang and it's fine?
you have all these fucking idiots saying, homosexuality is unnatural, it's against religion and shit like that. And then you have the fucking Kama Sutra, like what the fuck? There's so much homosexual shit in there. So
Yeah,
obviously
man.
your fucking ancestors had no motherfucking problem with homosexuality.
Well, it's good. Like, it's this like retrospective idea of what like Indians are supposed to be like, and they have no idea about the history of India, and they just make this assumption that India before was super conservative when it actually was like the most
It's
liberal
just
place on
bullshit. You
earth.
have a fucking temple with like carvings of sex positions, man. Like We were
Come
fucking.
on, we worship dicks and vaginas, man.
Yeah,
Like the ling.
yeah, I know, shivling.
Yeah,
But the point is that it's bullshit. Like it's just fuck whatever's convenient, right? Is what they try to pull.
yeah. Like, oh, did you watch that the All India Buck Chode roast?
Yeah, I didn't think it was. I mean, I wasn't offended by it, and it shouldn't
No,
have been banned. But
it
it
shouldn't.
wasn't funny.
Yeah, it wasn't funny. That was the thing. I didn't find it very funny, but
Yeah,
like
exactly.
like they basically just swore all the time. I didn't really give a shit
Exactly.
about that.
Yeah, yeah.
Like like jokes aren't just, saying fucking shit and fuck my ass all the time, basically.
Exactly. And yeah, so yeah, no, it wasn't funny, but fucking A, it didn't have to be banned. Just because it's lame doesn't mean you have
Uh,
to ban
well, I'd like to ban like Bucky telling jokes or like speaking.
it. But you can't. And that's the point.
We should. We should. It's for the benefit of everybody.
Man, how hard can it be to ban Bucky from speaking?
No, no, just squeeze his ankle and he'll cry.
Yeah. He probably just run home and
Yeah.
then Aman will run after him or something. I don't know.
Oh yeah, have you seen it? I'm on.
No, he came over. So Rag and Aman came to like the Air Force station where my dad's posted now.
Yeah.
And yeah, so like Aman, and I haven't seen him after that. That was in December.
Does he wear like a bag over his head now? Like the bombastic bag man?
Not yet.
Like he won't let pictures be taken of him.
Yeah, I know. He's Delhi has done things to him, man.
What happened to him in Delhi? Did he sell his ass?
Did you notice the change? I mean, like, so he's still him when he's
Yeah.
alone with us,
Yeah.
but he's become like really insecure about how he looks, and I mean,
Yeah,
he
I don't know
always
why he
was,
cares about that much. Yeah, well, he's been taking hair treatments for like since he's been like 7 years old
but
for
he's
hair
he's gotten
loss.
worse. He's gotten worse because he met those kind of people, right?
Yeah, definitely. Probably. I didn't notice that much. Like I met him last year and he wasn't too bad, but he
That's what
probably
he's
had more
not.
of his
He's
hair
not when
last
he's
year.
with us. He's not when he's with us because like he's known
Yeah.
us for fucking forever, and there's not much he can say or do to us.
Yeah, pretty
If he's
much.
insecure
We
about
said and done basically everything to each other.
yeah. But
Yeah.
that's probably why he doesn't like pictures being taken because he doesn't want, like Pernia to see it or whatever.
Who?
I don't know, this really rich chick that he has like a crush on. If you're listening, I doubt she's listening.
She'll
He'd kill me
probably
for just saying
she'll
that.
probably
He'd kill
listen
me.
someday when
He,
people go
he'd
back
kill
and
me for
watch
saying
it.
that on a live broadcast that is like our first like he'd kill me for just saying that right now. Like that's how
What?
intense he's got.
Oh, tell me your full name. Or actually, not her full name. Just tell me your first name.
I just texted to you, man. I don't know.
Text it to me. I don't have. We're in different countries, dum dum.
Text you her name?
What are you talking? Why did you say text it to me?
Look, you want her name, right?
Yeah,
So I can
just
just.
message it to me. Message it to me.
Oh God. Oh fucking A, man. Holy shit.
What?
That's what I meant by text. I didn't mean fucking
Well, for me,
SMS
text
on a
means
phone.
like for me, text means SMS.
Yeah, fuck that shit.
You fuck that shit with your Indians just
It's text.
fuck English.
It's
They
text.
fuck
Whether
English.
it's on a group chat or whether it's on a fucking phone, it's it's text.
No, no, Void. Why would you even try to argue that?
I don't know. For the fuck of it.
Like she's Muslim?
Yeah.
Oh, we all knew Kana was Muslim.
So her dad's really, really, really rich.
What does he do? Like make hot dogs?
He exports beef.
Oh, that offend Kana so much. Oh. Wait, but he's always in Barrage. He doesn't even live in Delhi anymore.
He's in Delhi right now. Exams.
Is he still trying to finish school?
Yeah.
He was trying to finish school like last year when I went too.
Yep.
Uh, Everybody screwed up.
Yeah. No, I'm fine.
Oh yeah, apart from the
I'm
fact he'd
pretty.
been in school for like going on 6 years basically.
That's fine, dude. I have drove to fucking like Dhruv got me beat there.
Oh yeah,
He's so he
Dhruv is me and Uday were just calling him like pathetic.
no so when he joined his degree was 4 years and now it's 5.
Yeah, because they added on 1 year in a village, didn't they?
Some shit, I don't know. And then he has to do his residency, then he has to specialize, then he has to fucking do more residency, and then
Yeah,
maybe
basically. He's gonna be 42 by the time he earns like a fucking roop from doing his degree.
I
Yeah,
don't know.
it's gonna be bad.
At least it's what he signed up for.
Yeah, but I think he's crazy for even like doing that. He could have went to like North America and done it way quicker, or even
No,
London.
man, it's as long. In the US, it's as long. I don't know about London.
Yeah, but like in places like Canada and the US, like when you come out and you're practicing, like you're actually practicing, not like India where you have to like kind of set up a side practice and like that takes a while to get going. And in the meantime, you work at some like doing some surgeries somewhere else.
Hmm.
It's not like that. Like you just go right into being like a fucking doctor, like after your residency and shit.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, but of course it's true. So, and he's going to merit on top of that.
Yeah. So his university like suspended 70 kids for supporting Pakistan in a cricket match. Fuck
What the
it.
fuck?
Exactly. I'm just like, what?
It's a cricket game, man. Like,
I
chill out.
know.
They ha People play cricket with like banana leaves in India. It's not a big deal. Okay, just it can be played anywhere. It's a ball and a stick. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah. No, people take shit way too seriously, man.
Yeah, I think so. Anyway, I think we should end the broadcast on that one. And
Yeah.
it's been a thanks for coming on for the first one. I appreciate it. And yeah, if you have any more like stuff to write, like want to get your opinion out there, just send it to me.
Sure, man.
Huh?
All right. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, because I want to keep on that, and like I'm actually getting quite a few viewers on the site now, so it's going pretty good. But anyway, anybody who listens to this, thanks for listening. You can follow me at Saccha underscore report on
And the
Twitter
same
and
problem.
what? At Saccha report on
Saccha.
Twitter.
Saccha report.
Dude, it's not even spelled like that in English though. It's like Saccha. Saccha. Okay, you can follow us at the Saccha report, or you can check out the site at satchareport.wordpress.com. Okay. Yeah. I'll talk to you later, Vohra.
Hey, man.
Thanks for coming on. See
No
ya.
problem. See you.